Hi, I'm Art Taylor, and my second short story collection has just been published, The Adventure of the Castle Thief and Other Expeditions and Indiscretions from Crippen and Landru Publishers. This is actually the second Sync Up I've recorded. The first was focused on craft, specifically how to revisit the beginnings of your stories or your novels in order to find what you need for the endings. This time, though, I want to focus on process instead, specifically your attitudes toward your own process and your progress too. Now, my wife is the novelist Tara Laskowski. Both she and I have had other people comment on our successes and how prolific we are. But I have to admit, from this side, process doesn't always seem so smooth or steady. Both of us have full-time jobs. My wife is an editor for an association. I teach at George Mason University. We're parents to a wonderful but a very busy boy. And like everyone, we struggle sometimes navigating professional responsibilities and personal ones in various other directions. Between working full-time and parenting and more, it rarely seems like we have enough time for our writing or even for the space to think about our writing. Now, I have friends, fellow writers, who keep to a steady writing routine. They set goals of 500 words a day or 1,000 words a day or even more, for example. Or maybe it's a time goal, write for 1 hour before breakfast, write on my lunch hour, fit in 2 hours over the course of the day, whatever it is. I admire those folks, envy them, in fact. I've tried to set those goals for myself, but often I end up falling short and feeling discouraged. And each time I fail, and I do put quotes around that word, to meet my daily goal, it feels like just that, a failure, and the failure is accumulating. If you've ever felt that way, I want to tell you to stop and to shift your perspective. I mentioned my son before. When he was learning to walk, he took a step and then he fell. And then he took 2 steps and fell. And then he took another step and fell. But he kept getting up. And eventually, bit by bit, stumble by stumble, he got wherever he wanted to go. I think of that often when I think about process and progress. It's not always as important to take the most steps or the longest walk, but rather to keep taking some steps, however many that is, and to keep that momentum going. Whatever I'm working on, I try to touch base on it at least once a day, whatever form that touching base takes. That could be sketching out a scene. It could be rereading and revising a scene I've already written. It could be a small note or many notes about a character, or writing down the idea that came to me for a plot twist, or just jotting down a line or a phrase that I want to add next time I get back to the computer. Or maybe it's finding a day where that momentum of those little steps spills over into the 1,000 words written or to the super productive 2-hour sprint. Now, I'll go further, and I'll say that even thinking counts. Playing out ideas and possibilities while you're taking a walk, or on a drive, or in the shower. I think that's touching base too, and it should count as a win. Now, obviously, writers should find whatever process works best for them. I applaud those folks I mentioned before who can stick to their time or their word count goals and schedule. As I said, I'm envious even. But for anyone who's feeling like less of a writer because they can't do that, I want to tell you, celebrate every small step, every small win, and know that eventually you'll get where you want to go.